March Madness continues. We're wrapping it up. This is our last week, but we are still discussing how hosts should add add-on services to their listing to differentiate in a very vast marketplace of listings that guests have the opportunity to choose from. So we're going to set up a situation where we offer 16 different options for hosts to choose from, and you're going to select the winner. So we're down to the wire here. We're going to finish up this week, and then the voting will begin, and you can decide which one you think is the best to add to your short-term listing. But today I have a special guest, and I'm so excited because this is going to be really fun. One of my favorite things to do is to watch food being prepared. It's kind of an artistry. It's almost magic as far as I'm concerned, and I like to do it when I travel. And I think it would be a fantastic add-on service for a host. I know as a guest, I would love something like that. So we're going to bring on Sophia Davila, and she is going to talk to us about why she also thinks that food demonstrations are a great idea, and she's going to give us some pointers on a really special activity that she's doing now. So let me grab her. Let's see. Okay, it looks like she's connecting.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can. I can. Hold on. Let's make some adjustments. Okay.
I'll have to pick like the food or like me, but I think the food's more important, so I can move it as needed.
I can see you, and I think we'll be able to see the food as well.
All right,
So,
wonderful.
welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you before we start, and then we can talk about what you do and how it relates to, I mean, seemingly unrelated to short-term rentals, but really
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah, well, my name's Sophia, as you introduced me. I'm originally from Georgia, and I attended the Culinary Arts Academy in Switzerland. And I specialize in pastry and chocolate arts while there. It was a fantastic experience, and that was kind of my first really big introduction to hospitality. Growing up, my family always was hosting people over. I'm Latin, so food is a big part of our culture, and just kind of like our story. And after leaving school, it was the height of COVID, and that was a challenge. But I was able to start working in Georgia again, and then eventually take a job in a ski town where I get to do pastries full time, and it's a
Wow.
blast.
That sounds like a dream job.
Yeah,
I can't, I think in my next life, I'm going to do the same thing.
uh,
It sounds
it's
really
great.
fun.
Yeah. So, at my job, I have a lot of exposure to guests, and I've been learning a lot just about how small details really matter in guest
Yes,
experience. And you don't tend to think of that kind of from the back of house side because you're like in the kitchen. Guests are not interacting with you on a daily basis. However, like the things you do and the love and attention and care you put into the pastries or the food you're preparing really does make a guest's experience more memorable. And they
absolutely.
can leave, the resort or the hotel, wherever they are, or in your case, like an Airbnb, and think,
Hmm.
wow, like that really was a memory for me because food tells a story. It's all memories that we take with us throughout our life. So yeah, that's it in
I
synopsis.
can't agree more. I
Yeah.
think I think of the times that I have been a part, not even in my own home, but
Yeah.
just in other locations and watching people prepare food
Yeah.
or participating in it. And they are the memories that stick out.
Absolutely
If I
true.
were to name five of the best things that happened, three of them would be food related
Yeah.
demonstrations.
Yeah, for sure.
So I agree completely, and I can't wait for hosts to see what you're doing today and to understand how they too could set this up for their own listing. So
Hmm.
the way I see it, I see a host finding someone like you
Hmm.
and making an arrangement, a collaboration, so that once things are safe, of course, you
Hmm.
come in and you can select ahead of time what it is that you'll be preparing, whether you make that
Yeah.
arrangement with the host or directly with the guest even. And and then you work your magic. And I don't know if in what you do you'd be interested or willing to have some of the guests participate maybe in some of the prep.
Yeah.
because that certainly brings them into the scenario a little bit more.
Mhm.
But then, it for me, most of my guests are people coming in town to go to a conference center down the street from where I
Okay.
am. So, but for that kind of travel, business travel, it's a great team building experience. It's a great way to celebrate a memorable achievement for the company. It's a fantastic way to end, a long week at a conference. And I just think there's so many different ways that hosts can work this kind of situation into their story, like you say, because it's all about your story. It is all about your listing story when guests are scrolling through the many, 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 many listings. If your headline talks about, some kind of fantastic food demonstration,
Hmm.
you know, I'm there. I'm there. I have
Yeah.
stopped scrolling and I am looking to book with you at that point. So that's why I'd like to have you on and talk about it because I think it's just fantastic. So,
Yeah.
what are you doing today?
Well, I thought it'd be good to flip my camera since, like, filming from home is challenging and I am not a videographer. That is not my
No
specialty.
problem. No problem.
But I have a little setup for you guys. So, um,
Ah,
I have fresh berries. I have a mini pavlova, whipped cream, and lemon curd. And the reason I chose these items is because it's all very fresh, very local and seasonal right now. We're heading into spring, and I found that a lot of people are kind of like intimidated by making pavlovas, but it's a great show-stopping kind of dessert that's super easy, and that I genuinely think that with a good recipe, anyone can prepare. You don't need a lot of equipment. I used a hand mixer from my home.
okay.
It's not like
So, can you tell us what a pavlova is? I looked it up. I
yeah,
saw the
okay,
history. I saw that it's named after a ballerina, Anna
it is.
Pavlova, and
Yeah.
that back in the early 1900s,
Mhm.
and it originates, or they think it kind of originates, the recipe comes out of Australia.
Correct. Yeah. It's one of my favorite. I used to be a ballet dancer, so
Oh,
um,
see?
I always like get happy when people talk about pavlovas because they're so versatile as well. I mean, I chose fresh berries, but people can do figs, they can do citrus.
Oh,
I've seen
nice.
pavlovas with chocolate mousse, olive oil mousse, like the. I mean, it's like a blank canvas. So I think it's a great dessert to prepare for guests from your home and something that you can definitely get guests involved in making because who
Okay.
doesn't want to like build their own dessert? Like I think that's
So,
really fun.
so is it the base of it sponge or is it cream or
So
is it?
the base of this, I think the lighting's pretty bad, but it's actually egg white. It's a meringue.
Oh, it's
So
meringue.
it's
Okay.
very simple ingredients. It's sugar and egg whites, and you
Okay.
whip them together. I added vanilla and a pinch of salt just for taste, but that's
Okay.
optional because you're putting so much stuff on them. You don't have to do that.
Okay.
Um, but it's also like inexpensive to make. So it's good for people that have a gluten intolerance. Right now
Mm,
it's Passover. A lot of people aren't eating leavened bread. And this is a dessert that I've seen done a lot for Passover as well. It's good for Easter. It's a great dessert.
oh, no, that's fantastic. And I love
Yeah,
that because if you're hosting multiple guests, everybody could have their own little mini version like that.
exactly.
That's
You don't.
fantastic.
Yeah. So here's a bowl of whipped cream, and I'm just gonna fold in some lemon curd while we talk, and I'll start
Okay.
building it, and then I'll show it from time to time, like the progress,
Okay.
because again, camera setup is difficult.
Oh, no, I understand. No problem. No problem. So how did you get started with all of this?
All this. So that's kind of an interesting story. My whole life, I grew up cooking and in the kitchen with my family, and but I never thought about pursuing it as a career. Honestly, I was like, oh no,
Really?
that's too. I thought it was too easy. Honestly, I was like, no, I can't do
Oh,
that. Like that's not a good career. I was like, it
uh,
comes naturally, and so I pursued
ah,
ballet, and
that's
then
funny.
yeah, around 19 years old, I got severely injured and I had to kind of make some life choices.
Mm,
So I was going to go to a normal university after that and just, make a good adult decision and pursue a career in communication and business. And
okay.
before I was going to leave, a friend called me and asked me, she's like, Sophia, what are you doing with your life? And I was kind of offended. I was like,
Wow.
I'm going to be, yeah, I was like,
That's
I'm going
intense.
to be a businesswoman. She's like, no, Sophia, you are. She's like, but you're going to be miserable. You're creative and you love food. Like, think about it. And so I talked to my parents, and they were like, there's no doubt about it. You are creative. You would be good at food, but it's a very hard
Wow.
industry. And so I thought about it a lot. And I decided within 1 week to go to culinary school, which sounds kind of quick. I realized that, and rash. But yeah, then I started looking internationally because a lot of schools in the US, they're very pricey,
Mm.
and they don't offer like a joint experience between a hospitality program and a culinary program. And I wanted to
Oh,
experience both things at once, even if I wasn't, specializing in or majoring in hospitality, like per se.
so you do
So
one or the other? Is that what you mean?
yeah, yeah, a lot of times people
Interesting.
do that. So I started looking abroad, and I was like, well, what an amazing experience that would be to be around people from all around the world, hear their stories and their culture, because that's what hospitality is.
Hmm.
And that led me to choosing Switzerland because they specialize in chocolate, and that's really what I wanted to focus on. And yeah, I ended up going there, and at first I felt like the craziest American, like I was 19 years old, um, and worried that I made the wrong decision, but it ended
Oh,
up being a fantastic decision. I was able to make friends from literally all around the world. I have friends in Russia and Italy and
wow.
Switzerland and Colombia, and they shared like their recipes with me, and we talked about food, and yeah, that's kind of how I got into
Wow.
the industry. So I'm
That's
still relatively,
fantastic. That's
yeah,
fantastic. I tell people that travel and those kinds of experiences are transformative, and
they
there's
truly are.
nothing like it. It's life changing. That's why I try to teach women to become hosts, because through
Yeah.
hosting you can, at least for me, I was able to afford travel on a regular basis and not
Hmm.
just save up for occasional travel, sort of
Yeah.
domestically. But I have in my home, when I have guests here, I travel somewhere else and they pay the bill. So it's fantastic. I have been to 5 or 6 different countries recently since I started hosting on a regular basis,
Oh, wow.
and when I go, I try and do a cooking class in
Okay.
different locations. So I did. I made macarons and le cordon bleu in Paris, and it was so fun. It was one of the best things that's ever happened. And then we did pastries in Portugal, and so I
Wow.
I tell people, become a short-term host. It's something everybody who lives someplace can do,
Hmm.
and it can reward you in ways that may not seem so clear initially. But
Exactly.
like I say, I've taken my daughters and we've gone all over the world as a result of our hosting experience.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's been really cool. But the thing I want to share, and the thing I keep emphasizing, is that you must differentiate your listing in order to
Yeah.
attract guests. And the collaborations, be them cooking demonstrations
Hmm.
or in-home pet care or a yoga practice that will come in and conduct something live for your guests when everything allows.
Yeah.
Um, you know, all kinds of different and I think interesting services that can really stop the potential guest at your
Yeah.
listing.
Especially right now, I think the market is getting rather competitive. Um, Given COVID, a lot of people are, kind of going away from large resorts and hotels to have a
Right,
more individualized experience because, especially right now, it's safer.
right.
You're not around as many people. Um, and even before COVID, people wanted to have a unique experience. They didn't want to be with
Hmm.
all the touristy groups and areas.
Hmm.
So it definitely is important to set yourself apart because scrolling through Airbnb, like the options are almost overwhelming at this point. Like you're scrolling and it kind of
Right,
starts to sound the same. You're like,
right,
okay, like friendly, clean homeowner who's not weird,
right,
would like me to
right.
stay at their
Comfy,
home.
cozy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And like
Yes, all
local
of that.
area.
Yes. And that's why, you have to figure out something. And I always tell hosts to look at themselves. What makes them interesting? And it doesn't, maybe for them it's not cooking or, food demonstrations. Maybe it's
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they're super into fitness, or maybe they're into art, or maybe they're a tarot card reader, or whatever they are.
Yeah,
If they find it interesting, someone else is going to find it interesting. And
definitely.
that's how you stand out, and that's how you attract more guests, and then that's how you travel and take cooking classes all over the world.
I couldn't
It's full
agree more.
circle.
For sure, for sure. And
How's our
especially,
pavlova?
all right, I actually finished it, so I'm gonna show you because that's like super quick. Um,
Wow.
but yeah,
Oh my goodness. Look at that. That looks fabulous.
yeah, and it's super easy, and it looks. I mean, it's such a
Wow.
show-stopping dessert, and it's all fresh berries. Like, something that I've kind of learned more about and become really passionate about is using just like more simple, fresh ingredients because that way you can work with local farmers and
Yes.
bring business to them. And the food is just, it's better. I'm in Utah, so like our options are a little bit more limited given
Mm.
that I'm in the high desert. But I take Georgia, for example, because that's where I grew up. Going to farmers markets, especially during the spring and the summer, there are so many options. And I
Yes.
think that would be another great way to work with guests. Um, have them go to the farmers market, have them pick out something and make it, have them make jams. When I was in culinary
Yes.
school, the highlight and it's the most simple thing of my time, like my first semester there, was we took a field trip to the farmers market, which is the most culinary school thing you'll hear. And we got to walk along the river, go to the farmers market, pick out fruit, and then go make our own jams that we put on the
Wow.
bread. And it was amazing. It was so simple. You take fruit and water and sugar and boil it. And
That's a
it made it like
fantastic guest experience, though. Just, I
exactly.
mean, because people want to they want to have a local experience. And
Mhm.
so, like you said, the farmer's market, it doesn't get much more local and
No.
authentic than that. And then come back and make something and enjoy it, that same
Yeah.
day. That's a fantastic day, and I think that's something that I would love to see someone do. It's kind of like a tour, as well
Hmm.
as an experience,
Yeah.
as well as a cooking class. That's a great
It's like the
one.
best of all worlds. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's great. So, what kind of jams did you make?
when I was there, so I had quince jam for the first time, which is like I
Oh,
hadn't had quince before. I'm going to Switzerland. But we made
okay.
that. We made some like apple preserves because I went in the fall, so it was all seasonal,
Mm,
all local. We weren't gonna find berries. That would have been strange. So we made
okay.
those jams and then we put them on traditional Swiss bread,
Mm.
um, which is very different than American bread or American style bread. So it had like really, really thick crusts. And
Oh,
I
nice.
remember like standing in the kitchen and just thinking to myself, I am going to school to make bread. Like, this is amazing.
You're
And I
like, I've
called my
made the right
mom.
decision, I'm sure.
Exactly. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever done. I'm like, I'm in school to make bread and eat. Like, I ate so much bread. It was
No, that
amazing.
sounds like a good life.
Oh, it was fantastic.
I love it. I love it. So, if
Yeah.
you were going to plan an experience like this and
Mhm.
work with a host, what kind of suggestions would you have for them? I love the jellies and jams one. That's a great one. What
Yeah.
else would you suggest?
Um, there are a lot of small restaurants right now who are struggling due to COVID, but
Yeah.
most of these restaurants have a chef, obviously. And many times those chefs are actually willing to give a presentation on the restaurant's behalf and work with you.
Oh, nice.
So, say, I keep using Georgia for example, but that's, a place where I've lived. When I went to farmers markets, I met a lot of different people who ran small businesses. And
Hmm.
many of those people were willing to have demonstrations, willing to have me give demonstrations. One of them is a chocolatier, for example. And he will go and do like a macaron and wine pairing, which is a great experience for those who are older than 21. Like, who doesn't want to pair those two things together?
Oh
And he'll
my
show you how to
goodness.
pair them. Um, I think from like a bed and breakfast standpoint, having fresh muffins made, getting the guests involved, like let them get flour on their
Mm,
hands, let them like learn what it is to be a kid because everyone's stressed, and I think those
yeah.
things kind of bring you back. They make you more grounded. So let them make
Yes.
scones. There's a website, King Arthur Flour. I live my life by their recipes because all of them are so well tested, so well written, and I think anyone can follow them. So when planning a guest experience, I would say not to get overcomplicated with this. This dessert
Okay.
looks complicated, but it isn't. Keep it simple so that your guest doesn't feel frustrated, because nothing would be worse than trying your hand
A
at something and
failed
then
dessert.
failing at it when you're
Yeah.
on a relaxing vacation. Like for all the perfectionists
Right.
out there,
You know,
I
I
think
gotta
it's
need
like
this. I
no
can
way
do
to
this
go.
at work.
Exactly. They'd be like, why am I failing? So yeah, keep it simple, keep it local. Reach
Yes.
out, go to farmers markets, talk to people who are there, see who will give demonstrations, talk to restaurant owners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to make pasta when I was in Italy, and
Oh,
I thought I
fun.
had arrived. It was simple pasta. Like I got to boil water, put pasta in, and make a sauce, and it was amazing. And
That would be fun.
sometimes, yeah, it was so much fun. But sometimes something that you think is like super simple because you do it every day, it may
Mm-hmm.
be a new experience for a guest, or maybe they just want to experience it for the first time in your home, in
Yeah.
whatever country
Or
you
with
are.
the group, with the, you know, they're with different people. In my case, if they're with other colleagues, or if you have a
Yeah.
family and you have
Mm-hmm.
generations. We have a lot of that here. Then grandma, you know, is there, and the
Yeah.
younger kids, and it could be a really, like you say, fun and memorable experience. And
Exactly.
and I love the idea.
Yeah.
Well, can we see the pavlova again? That was so
One more
fantastic.
time. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
My turn around.
Oh my goodness, I love it. So you have blackberries, strawberries. Is that
Mm-hmm.
mint on top?
It's raspberry. This actually just leaves from the strawberries. And then the base, of course, is the meringue that we talked about. And then we have a lemon
And how
curd
would you
whipped
serve
cream
that?
underneath it. So the pavlova is kind of like a little cream or mousse, and then you top it with berries. And it's always a hit. Like I would 10 out of 10 recommend making this for any small gathering, especially because they're mini. You can bake them in advance, and then people can assemble them the day of. So yeah.
I love it. Well, I can't thank you enough. You've been wonderful. This has been really fun. I think, guests and hosts alike would have a ball finding someone like you. I wish we could all find you. But if we're looking to find you online for more information,
Yeah.
oh, wait. I can't let anybody go without showing some of this stuff. So sorry, I almost forgot this.
Oh,
I
okay.
gotta
Yeah.
get I gotta get some of these photos on because this stuff is fantastic. Look at what she does. Okay, this is my favorite. This is a
Oh, you're
beautiful,
like the focaccia bouquets.
I love them. I love this. I think this would be really fun for guests to do also if they were having a bigger dinner or whatever, and everybody could make their own kind of,
Agreed.
focaccia
Yeah. Those are
bouquet. That's
super
super
easy
cute.
too. Yeah, it's
Super
all
cute.
vegetables, all natural ingredients. Nothing is like dyed or, I did that one for Christmas. Yeah, that's from my
It's
Instagram. And
fantastic.
yeah, I mean, I think they're great for holidays. Everybody seems to love them when you bring them to the table. I've sold them. They're super popular.
They're adorable. And I
Yeah,
just want
thank
to show a
you.
few of your other creations because it all just looks so good. These are super close-up photos, so I don't know if you
Oh
can
yeah, they're
tell.
super cool. So
So let's see
yeah,
if I
that's a
can.
croquant bouche, and
Okay.
that's the lemon tart. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Sorry, they're so
that
close
is
up. It's kind of hard to see.
yeah, that's a creme caramel. I learned that recipe when I was in culinary school. So it's like a flan, except you don't have to bake in the oven. It actually sets naturally using
Oh,
something called
wow.
pectin, and it's one of my favorite, like all-time favorite desserts.
Oh, that would be fun to
Yeah.
make. Here's some of your red. I feel like we're inside the bread cave because the
Uh,
picture's so big. But who wouldn't want to be
yeah.
inside a bread cave? I don't
I mean,
know.
I'd be
Sounds
okay
like
with it.
a great experience. That was pretty. What was that?
So this is a Russian honey cake. A friend from Slovenia actually gave the recipe to me. It's like layers of like a honey. You can picture the taste like a honey graham cracker almost, but a
Oh
softer
my.
texture. And then it's layered with like a honey cream and
Oh,
fruit. And the longer it sits, the better it gets. Like
oh my
this cake
goodness.
is, it's a little bit time consuming because it's layer by layer, but it's fantastic.
Oh, I haven't seen that before. It sounds fantastic. Okay, well, I had to show those because they're
Uh,
fantastic and you are fantastic, and I
well, thank
appreciate your
you.
time so much today. It's nice to meet you. I would love to have you come back and do another demonstration at another time because I absolutely think that that what you do is completely related to what I do. And
Yeah,
so
definitely.
thank you today, and thank you all the guests that have joined. We are, like I said, finishing up our March Adness series this week. We'll be voting soon on the top add-on service for hosts, and I have to tell you, the food demonstration has got my vote. I love it. I love
Thank you
it.
so much. I really appreciate you having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I think what you're doing is so wonderful and important. I think more women should be in hospitality, so it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
Thank
All right.
you. How can everybody find you online?
So you can find my Instagram, butter, soap, and flour. You can always send me a DM if you have a question, or interact with my posts and engage with them. If you're
Nice.
interested, I send out an email like bi-monthly with a recipe, and I'm starting to do kind of like a Zoom dinner club because I thought it
Oh,
would be a great way to bring people together, especially right now because of COVID. So you'll get a recipe, and we'll get to make it together. So yeah, that's
that's
probably the best way.
nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine. So how do we get on that list? Because that sounds fun.
I'm going to put the link to that list actually in my pastry account bio. It's not in there right now. It
Okay.
was on my TikTok account. It still is, which is
Okay.
sincerely.sophia.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll move it in there and people can sign up and start growing that list a little bit more because I was very surprised by how many people were interested in
Oh, are you
it in the
kidding?
first
That sounds
place.
great. So that's on your Instagram. That'll be on your Instagram
I
account.
will
And
put
we
that on
should
my
just look at the
Instagram.
link in the bio. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
be looking for that.
All right,
Thank you,
wonderful. Thank
Sophia.
you.
We'll see you
Bye.
soon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Take care. Bye.